How I learned to drive a motorhome. Hello, y'all. I'm Diana Brienne. Well, my lighting, I don't know how good my lighting is going to be because I'm trying my new camera and I don't have all the lights on. It's becoming evening and I'm just learning this camera. And so I wanted to come on here and talk a little bit about when I learned to drive a motorhome. Okay, I've talked about this in other videos, and I've been sharing little excerpts from my life, and so I hope you're enjoying them. This one's just a short one, and it was how I learned to drive a motorhome and why I learned to drive a motorhome. You know, growing up, my mom and I, we would stop at the little RV dealership. Now, this is back in the 60s, and we would stop at the little RV dealerships that would have these little travel trailers. And I was just fascinated with little travel trailers. I so wanted a little travel trailer of my own. And it was just so exciting to see these little travel trailers and walk through them. Well, my aunt and uncle who lived in California, my mom and I were living back in Appalachia. And my aunt and uncle would come back in a motorhome. Well, they started off with campers, and then they bought a motorhome. And probably, I don't know what year it was, late 60s or something. And they bought a motorhome and they would come back. And I was even more fascinated with that. Well, let's fast forward to, living down in Texas, my husband and I, with his career and our small children at the time. And I remember I saw this camper for sale. It was $3,300, kind of old and rusted out. And I tried to talk my husband into buying it. He said, "No, I'm not going to buy that." He had never been in a camper, had never been in a motorhome or anything like that. So we decided, I always say my husband takes my dream and he makes it bigger. So we went out looking, and lo and behold, we ended up driving to Houston, and we bought this huge 40-foot diesel motorhome bus. It was a motorhome, but it was beautiful, but it was used, but it was very, very nice. And we bought it, and he drove it home, never having driven a motorhome ever before. Through the Houston traffic on a Friday night. Oh my goodness, we were all so scared, but he did it. And so we we brought that back. We didn't hold on to that motorhome, but maybe 6 months. And then when we were getting ready to move back to Georgia, my husband put it up for sale. So we really didn't take any big trips in it. We just took kind of like weekend trips and that with the kids. But it was a beautiful motorhome, fascinating. And we really, really loved that journey. So after we got back to Georgia and moved there, I said, I want a motorhome. So I went out looking for him. And I came across the exact motorhome I wanted. It had, the living room, the kitchen, and it had the bathroom, it had a master bedroom, and it had a bunk bed bedroom for the kids. Well, that was thrilling to have a bunk bed bedroom for the kids. And so my husband bought that for me for my birthday. Can you believe it? I mean, that's a big gift. It's probably the most impractical, not good investment, but it turned out to be the best investment, one of the best investments of our lives, because it created amazing memories that we could never get back. Our kids by then were like 7, 8, and 9, and they can remember all the memories we created. We went to 48 states, and it was just wonderful. But when I first started out, we were still living in Texas, and I learned on that great big 40-foot bus motorhome. And I remember my husband taking me out in the parking lot, and I just jerked that thing along, and then we went out on the road, and I would just jerk it up and down the street. And I mean, it was scary, scary, scary for me, because I was driving this massive vehicle that I had never driven, anything like it. And little by little, I learned how to drive it. So when we bought the second motorhome, I began driving it also. But a few times I hit the curb and the dishes would fall out. And one time we were going down towards Hoover Dam, and there was road construction works. It was one lane on each side and a drop off on each side, it seemed. And I was so scared, and I couldn't switch drivers with my husband at that point because we didn't see the construction was going to come up until it came up. And so I had to drive like 10 miles down this long, long road. And oh my goodness, I drove 10 miles an hour with all kinds of traffic behind me, and people were, not very happy with me because I was going so slow. But I got us down that hill safely, and then I parked it and let my husband take over. But that was the scariest time in the motorhome for me. But I got us there safely and fine, but I took it slow. I didn't care how many people gave me the finger after or cussed me out or whatever they thought. I got us there safely. And so I went like 10 miles an hour all the way down through that construction area in that great big motorhome. But we had such wonderful memories. We went to 48 states. I homeschooled the whole time. And it was just such wonderful memories. Financially, it was not a good investment. But for you looking back on our life, it was one of the best investments at the best time of our life when our kids could appreciate it. We could take them along and before they turned teenagers. And it was just wonderful. We went so many places. We went, to Key West, and we went to, we went to California, and we went to Route 66, and we went to the Northwest, and we went to the state parks, all those big state, like, what was it, Yellowstone or Yosemite, and all those, I can't remember. We were at so many of them. Glacier National Park, and the one in Utah with all the beautiful arches. I mean, we just had such a wonderful time. Went up to New England area. We just traveled all over in that motorhome. And there I was homeschooling, and I would read my kids stories. And one of my favorite memories going through Route 66 at night was July 4th. And the fireworks were going off on each of these little small towns as we were going by. And the kids and I were looking out the back window of the motorhome and watching the fireworks. Oh, that was so wonderful. So wonderful. What wonderful memories. And I never became a pro at driving the motorhome like my husband did, but I did learn to drive it. I faced my fear. I learned to drive it. And, I got pretty good at it. I got us there safely. Well, that's my story of driving in the motorhome. Well, from my house to yours, may God bless you. I hope you like, share, subscribe, and I hope to talk to you soon again. Bye-bye.